Okay.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
So, I gotta be careful about
this part.
Oh no, did we break it?
First time on a radio show.
I don't know.
It's all like this.
Oh, I got it.
You got it.
I got it. Yes. High five. All right.
Thank you. We're prepared today.
All over it.
No.
So today, like on this episode, I thought it would be fun to just, I always have somebody on, and this year one of my goals is to find my own voice. Because I spend a lot of time highlighting other people, and I want to talk a little bit more about the work that I do and get my story out. So we're going to try this today. It's our first afternoon episode of Get Real to Heal. We were looking at the Facebook stats and then talking to people, and it seems like we might have a few more people that are on and able to participate and give us some feedback during the afternoons. So this is our first afternoon episode. We're wide awake, which is a change from the morning.
It's very true.
And so it's just me on this episode and my wonderful, amazing friend and assistant, Carly Pass.
Hello.
Who is a brilliant and fantastic yoga teacher, and on, as we all are, your own health journey as well.
Yes,
so,
yes. I
yeah.
feel very fortunate to be working with Amanda. She is the best, so I'm excited to step in today. It's going to be fun.
It'll be a good time. So if you have questions, stick around, because at the end of this episode, I'm going to answer some questions. So just pop them in the feed, and we're trying to kind of integrate this technology, the social media, with the live on-air aspect of radio. So bear with me as we work through this. We're going to do it together.
Yes,
we're all
we
a team
are.
here. All of you and all of us. And Chris, who you can't
Chris
see,
is
but
there.
he's amazing. So yeah, we should be on and rolling with it in just a few minutes. One of the topics I'm going to talk about today is cravings. It comes up all the time in sessions with clients, and the reasons that people have cravings can be really surprising. So we're going to break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then talk about some things that you can do at home to help. And and then we'll see where the Q&A goes. It should be a good time.
Definitely.
I'm sure you probably have some questions too.
Yeah, they'll just come up.
Yeah.
Cravings, I'm wondering about that myself, so I'm excited.
Right? I know, when you start thinking about it, it's like,
Yeah, I'm having them right now as we speak.
ooh, what are you craving? We'll talk about that on the
What
air.
are not cravings?
Save it.
Save it, yeah, save it.
Wait for it. This is always the part that takes a lot of dedication on viewers at home, because this is where
The
we
waiting
go
part.
into the headphones and they can't hear any of the wonderful PSAs that we're hearing.
Seriously,
from
thank
the
you.
station. In the background.
Some entertainment for you.
Radio.
Radio, right?
It's the best. It's the best. This is Amanda LaPlante, and you're listening to Get Real to Heal on KWRH-LP 92.9 FM. And we're trying something new on the show today. With me today is my wonderful and amazing assistant, Carly Pass. And say hi, Carly.
Hi. Hi, Amanda. Thank you for having me today.
And thank you for filling in today. Normally I've had so many amazing professionals on here with me on the show. And I really have never just done a show by myself. And I thought, well, it might be interesting to, one of my goals for this year, I think everyone should set big goals, right, for the year. And when I was looking at the year ahead, one of the goals that I had was to, last year I wanted to build my network. I wanted to reach lots of people, touch lots of lives, and really build my friendships and my community, and I did that. And this year, one of the things that I want to do, in addition to continuing that wonderful momentum that I had from last year, is really find my own voice. And, I spend a lot of time really finding ways to lift up and encourage others, and that just motivates me and fuels my heart and soul. And sometimes I give myself a back seat to that. So I'm learning to find my own voice as well, not just bringing out the brilliance in others, but I want to start really finding myself. So in the process of that, Carly has been dragged along.
I'm here to help, but I'm very excited that Amanda is going to be focusing more on herself this episode because I'm lucky enough to have gotten to know her these past few months, and she's unbelievable, and she has so much information and just knowledge to share. So I'm excited for this episode to be more about her.
Ah, I love you. That's so amazing. All right, so before we jump in, I want to give a shout out to AFC Urgent Care. I'm so thankful to them for sponsoring this show, and the support that they give to the station and to Get Real to Heal is just amazing. So one of the things that I want to talk about is, if you think you might have the flu, right? A lot of times people are like, okay, is it a flu? Is it just a cold? AFC Urgent Care wants to remind you that cold symptoms usually include a sore throat, runny nose, sneezing, and coughing, whereas flu symptoms are more severe. They set in more suddenly, and they include fever, chills, muscle and joint aches. Lots of icky symptoms, right? So when you need to see a physician without an appointment or after traditional physician office hours end, you can visit AFC Urgent Care across from Brentwood City Hall on South Brentwood Boulevard, and they can help you out. And you can go to afcurgentcare.com/Brentwood to find out more information about their physicians on staff and all the services that they offer there. So,
awesome.
Yeah, big thank you to them. All right, Harley, where do we begin?
Where to begin?
So, I am an integrative health coach. I also have a passion for radio. I interned in radio 20 years ago, and as luck or God, whatever you want to call it, I believe it's a universe God thing, would have it, when I finished health coaching school a few years ago, I had gone back to school to study health coaching after a personal health journey that, if you're a regular listener, you're familiar with. And I went to this Chamber of Commerce luncheon. It was the very first one I had gone to, first networking thing that I had done after getting my health coaching certification. And I happened to sit down at the same table as the woman who was opening 92.9 FM, right as they were looking for some programming. So it was just one of those things, like, what are the chances? And here I am, and it's been such an amazing journey to have this show and grow the network and feature so many amazing people. And yeah.
Yeah. Personally, I believe there's no such thing as a coincidence, so it's a little too perfect that she was sitting there. It's awesome.
Oh, for sure. So here I am. So I am an integrative health coach. What does that mean? So, a lot of times doctors, a lot of doctors aren't trained in nutrition, so I do have some background in training in nutrition through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. But I've also got training in how to coach people around practical lifestyles and situations, basically to figure out the right diet and lifestyle that's going to be right for them. So I don't diagnose, treat, or prescribe in that way. I just kind of gently guide them and help them to figure out what's going to work for them. Kind of a guide on the side, or a mentor, if you will. Sorry, you got it, Chris? We good? All right, sorry, we had a little break in there. So that's kind of what I'm all about. So it's interesting because I get lots of different types of clients that come into me. Sometimes they just want to lose that few pesky pounds. Sometimes they're having issues with sleep and just some irritability, just, things being out of balance, basically, is what that comes down to. And then sometimes I get cases where they've been sick for 20 some odd years and really have been to lots of different types of doctors, different practitioners, and they're just looking for someone to give a different perspective. And they know how complex and odd my medical journey has been from hearing me speak or hearing the show, something like that. And I love those cases too, because we really get to do some detective work, and I kind of look at myself as a health detective. I'll dig in on, different research, PubMed.gov, whatever I have to do, just kind of dig in and try to figure out, what's missing. And also intuitively, just being able to sit down across from someone and listen and ask lots of good probing questions to help them to figure out what it is that they might have missed, that doctors might have missed, and then be able to give them some additional direction. And that can be healing in and of itself.
Oh yeah, just knowing that you always say your body's not betraying you.
That's really what's important, and that's what I've learned on my own journey. There was a time when everything was going wrong, and all the different autoimmune diseases and the mental health challenges that I was having, and it all came down to chronic inflammation, things that I was eating that weren't working for my body, lifestyle choices that weren't working for me, things being out of balance, me not really knowing myself and not having dealt with traumas in the past. There were so many different layers to my story that it's hard to really pin down. So when people are like, oh, well, come and tell your story. Okay, well, where do we start? And so I'm actually working on a book, which I think is that's going to be fun. That'll be
Yeah.
out sometime within the year. Yeah, to really dive in on that. But yeah, it's been such an amazing and complex process.
Yes, yes, and that's the hard thing. I know when I first met you, it was more what foods shouldn't I eat and which ones should I eat. But you've really taught me that it's all about noticing how your body feels after you eat that food because we're all so different. So that's been a huge lesson for me is just that mindfulness.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about today. I wanted to talk about cravings because it just comes up so much. Now, you were saying before we hopped on air that you were having some cravings
Oh yeah,
today.
oh yeah, big cravings always.
So, like, what have you been craving?
Pizza,
Pizza.
pizza, cheese.
Oh boy, cheese.
I can't eat cheese.
Okay. So you're dairy free.
I'm dairy
Okay.
free.
Well, that's maybe not a bad thing. So dairy is interesting because we're the only animals that drink milk from another species and into adulthood. And if we think about that, that maybe doesn't make a lot of sense.
Not at all when you put it like that.
Yeah. So cheese. There are a lot of reasons that dairy may not be working for people.
Mm.
So it's always interesting. I tell a lot of people just anyone I work with, I say pull it out for a few weeks, notice how you feel, put it back in, like really put it back in. Now you've got to pull it out for about 4 weeks really to get everything in the body to flush out, right? Get all that ick out of there. And then when you put it back in, just notice how you feel. Do your sinuses fill up? Are you feeling just kind of sluggish and is your skin breaking out? I know for me when I eat it, it's like instant acne. It's terrible.
Yeah,
it's like the
same.
worst. Yeah. Is your stomach upset? Are your joints achy? There's lots of different things that could happen when you put that back in. But so just noticing that and keep a food journal so that you can really be conscious of it.
That's very helpful.
Yeah.
Food journal, definitely. Because you forget what you eat. Totally. It's like last night, I couldn't even really tell you what went in this body.
That's so true though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we do it mindlessly.
Yeah.
Really. We just eat because we're eating.
A habit, kind of.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're on autopilot. And by, keeping something like a food journal, it's a really simple way to just get back in touch with what you're really putting in your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome advice.
Absolutely. So, all right. Causes of cravings. So I've got a little sheet that I hand out to people, and it's called the 8 Causes of Cravings. So what I love about this is it sets it all up. It says the body is amazing. It knows when to go to sleep, when to wake up, when to go to the bathroom. It maintains a temperature of 98.6 degrees, repairs itself when wounded, and knows the miracle of pregnancy and childbirth for some of us. So you never miss a heartbeat. Your lungs are always breathing, and the body is a supercomputer. It just doesn't make mistakes, right? That's the idea. So if something is off, right, we can look at the foods, the deficits, the behaviors in life that are underlying the causes of cravings. So a lot of people view cravings as weakness, but really, cravings are important messages that something is out of balance. So we want to break that down and kind of deconstruct it. So what does your body want and why? Get curious about why you're craving something. So for you, pizza, what does pizza remind you of?
Oh, comfort.
Okay,
Yeah.
comfort.
Relaxation. I think of like the end of the workday, just hanging out, no stress. So that's interesting, actually, what it represents.
I had a craving a while back. I was feeling, it was actually when I started the show, and I was putting myself out there and just really scared that it wasn't going to be received well. Nobody was going to want to listen to me, watch me, whatever. And by the way, changing those words in your mind, right? Not nobody. Not everybody is what I've changed it to. Not everybody is going to want to watch or listen to me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I was really feeling insecure, and I started having these cravings around that time for bread with big chunks of butter on it. Really weird craving for me because I don't really eat bread. It's just not a thing that I do anymore since I've gone down my health journey. It doesn't make me feel good, and really not great for most people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then big chunks of butter. I mean, where was that coming from?
Yeah.
And so I'm talking the kind where like you bite into it and you can see the teeth marks
Of
in the butter, that much butter. I mean, just ridiculous, like pads of butter.
It's a great visual.
Yeah, so it's so cold and creamy. It's really, now that I think about it, it's delightful. But we're just going to erase that. Okay, so taking a bite of this stuff, right? I'm thinking, what in the world? Well, I ended up talking to a counselor that I work with, and she was like, well, what does it represent to you? Which, here's the funny thing. Health coaches need coaches too,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like, I can talk about this all day long with people. I know the questions to ask, but then turning it inward and asking myself is a constant exercise, right?
Yeah.
Being
Oh,
mentally
yeah.
like aware to do that. And I thought about it and I realized that it reminded me of my grandma's house. When I was a kid, you know, when things were, hey, maybe, sorry, we're integrating with Facebook today, and so I'm going to be shouting out some people. And by the way, taking questions. So if you are listening, you can go to facebook.com/getrealtoheal, or come over to my Facebook page, facebook.com/AKLaPlante, or check us out on Instagram at getrealtoheal, and put your questions up there because I'm going to answer questions at the end of this episode. But yeah, so it reminded me of my grandma's house. And anytime that I was getting bullied at school, or, you know, feeling like a nerd, or all of the other negative self-talk started happening right when I was at grandma's, she'd say, oh, no worries, just come on, and she'd make me some bread with butter on it.
Wow.
And so here I was putting myself out into the world on radio and feeling really insecure about that, and I started having this craving. So a lot of times there's something like that from your past that's driving your craving in the present.
It's very interesting, kind of like a coping mechanism.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
food can be comfort. Another thing that people should look into is we have this concept called primary food. So what that means, right? Secondary food would be kind of the food that you put in your mouth, right? The stuff that we eat. But primary food, the concept would be any other thing that nourishes you. So it could be your career, your spirituality, exercise, whatever it is that fills you up on a soul level.
Okay.
So if your primary food's out of balance, you know, if you're stressed or bored or uninspired by your job, or you're lacking a spiritual practice, or whatever it is for you, you might be driving some cravings, right? You might be trying to fill that void with food. I think sweet cravings are a big red flag of that, because it's like, you know, when sweetness is lacking in life, we'll look for it in other ways.
Yeah.
Right?
So true.
So just thinking about those types of things can really help you to tap into, you know, what you could be doing a little bit differently or better to manage those cravings in your life. Water is an interesting one. A lot of people will, you know, we say the body doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't, but sometimes we can get our wires crossed a little bit. You know, you might be really, really thirsty and dehydrated, and that could be coming across as a hunger signal.
Oh.
And so you eat thinking that that's what you need, but really, if you just stopped and had a glass of water first, you may not even be hungry.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, have you ever tried that?
I haven't.
Okay.
But I'm going to now.
Now that you know.
Yeah, I need to be taking notes during this.
The more you know. So, all right. So that's another thing. This one is really interesting on the sheet. All right, so yin and yang imbalance.
Okay.
That sounds really
Yeah.
complex and fancy, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Okay. So certain foods have more yin qualities or expansive qualities, while other foods have more yang qualities or contractive qualities. Eating certain foods that are either extremely yin or extremely yang can cause cravings in order to maintain balance. So, for example, eating a diet that is too rich in sugar, which is yin or expansive,
Okay.
may cause a craving for meat, which is very yang or contractive, right? So, and eating too many raw foods, which are very yin and expansive, may cause cravings for extremely cooked or dehydrated foods, and vice versa.
It's very interesting. I've
It's a
never
little-
heard of that.
It's a little obtuse. It's a little,
Yeah.
but you know, if we start thinking about it, so you know, those sugary, expansive, those yin foods
Mm-hmm.
are available to us in a time of year. Typically, they're in warmer climates or warmer seasons, right?
Yeah.
When you are more outgoing, your energy is more outward. You're spending more time outside. You're more social. You're doing more. You're physically more active. So it kind of makes sense. It all goes together. Whereas yang, contractive, right? So you're talking about winter meats, root veggies, grounding things, right?
Wow.
Very warm, lots of cooked stuff, you know. So it's kind of interesting how you learn to play with that balance.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
So
I love that.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about your coaching is that, and like just speaking of this, is that it takes into account all of those lifestyle factors, and just even in that sense, it's not just food. It's considering what time of year is it grown, what does that do inside. It's everything.
Yeah, and we could do a whole episode on seasonal eating. It's really important because the food that you're taking in, you know, it's grown in certain temperatures and certain light spectrums, right?
Wow.
Certain times of year.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, there's all these different factors in nature that cause that food to be able to grow. And our bodies, you know, until just, you know, a few decades ago, really, we haven't had the availability of foods from all around the world that we have now.
Yeah.
You know, something grown in Mexico wouldn't have been on our plate in Missouri 2 days later.
It's very true.
So we have to think that maybe the body's getting a little bit confused by that, right? because food is information for our biocomputer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
seasonal eating can't be overstated. I think that's really important. It can be hard to do sometimes because we see those yummy strawberries in January. We're like, yes, please.
Yeah. It's not natural, but give me the strawberries.
This is so unnatural but delicious.
Yeah.
So, just being more aware of that. And by the way, going back to that yin and yang thing, a lot of times I'll have very, very yang cravings after I do this show because it's a very outward, very yin kind of thing, right? I'm putting myself out there. I'm interacting with people. So some people have jobs where I've seen people have, for instance, somebody started working at home when she had been out and interacting with the public in a large way. And then she went to working at home by herself and her cravings shifted.
Wow.
It's so interesting because it's not just within the food, it's within our life, right?
Yes.
So yeah, really thinking about that can be very helpful.
Yes. It's a new perspective I haven't thought of.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. So there's lots more of these, but yeah, talking about seasonal, like certain foods you might crave in certain seasons, again, for that balance, or you might crave certain things at certain times of years, right? So like eggnog at Christmas is a big one for me. I found healthier versions of eggnog, by the way. We'll talk later. Shoot me a text. Drop me an email.
Do tell.
Anyway, which, by the way, for anyone that's curious about my coaching services or just has a question, needs support, would like a referral, whatever it is, 314-583-6749 is my phone number. I am always available to you. And you can also pop me an email at amanda@amandalaplante.com or go on and hit the contact page on amandalaplante.com anytime. Harley's actually, you're working on a new website.
Yes,
too.
I am.
So exciting.
Very exciting.
So exciting. So, all right. And then, of course, one more thing to hit on with regard to cravings is lack of nutrients.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, like, if your body is deficient in certain nutrients, you might have certain cravings to counteract that, right?
Yeah,
Like
makes
it's going to
sense.
send you the signal.
Yeah.
Right. So, if the body has inadequate nutrients, you might have, like your inadequate mineral levels, you might have some salt cravings, right? So, by the way, if you're using processed, like salt, table salt, don't do that. Stop that. So use something like just a natural, like Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. Himalayan pink salt's probably my favorite. It's got a really nice, mild, but really, like, it's a really good flavor. And there's, I think, something like 84 different minerals that are found in Himalayan pink salt. It's not just the salt molecule. And if you think about it, when you strip it down to that table salt level, where it's just that one little molecule that just gives the salty flavor and you're losing all those other wonderful minerals that could be coming with it, you can create some imbalance with that. You always want to eat the food in the whole form because there's cofactors that come along with any nutrient that you're trying to take in. And if your body isn't getting them from eating that whole source of the food, then it will strip it from other places to be able to assimilate and use that nutrient.
Wow.
Crazy,
Mind
right?
blowing.
Mind blowing.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really important. That's why we talk about whole foods. Like, that's what's important. For instance, when you eat an apple, you're not just getting vitamin C. There's like 10,000 phytochemicals in an apple. Well, nutrients, minerals, all kinds of, whatever. There's lots and lots of good stuff in there. Not just that one thing.
You can't just strip out the
can't
one
just
ingredient.
And we
you think
can't
you
do that
need.
with salt either. It's just not a good idea. I think there's an expression that I love. It's, let's see. There are 3 powders that will kill you. 3 white powders that will kill you. So, sugar, flour, and cocaine. I would make that 4 and add processed salt. I'd probably go ahead and make that 4. But
yeah, I like that. I'll remember it.
Anytime that we're stripping something down to that base molecule and taking that in, it's going to cause imbalance in the body. So just don't do it. Processed stuff. Yep.
Whole foods.
Whole foods. Eat the whole thing. All right. So yeah. Oh, and then of course there's a few more on this list. For sake of time, I'm going to digress on them. But de-evolution. I'm going to just throw that out there. Sometimes when things are going really well in life, we just want to de-evolve, right? We self-sabotage.
Yes, so true.
And that's where it gets into, again, like digging into your why, like really getting into, really getting into why you're doing this, why you're eating the food that you're eating. My mindset on anything that I eat nowadays is related to being able to fuel me forward in the world. I have a big purpose and a big mission. I want to help a lot of people get well and recover from autoimmunity. I want to see that gone. our bodies should not be fighting themselves, and we need to get that. We need to get a handle on that in our society. It's just rampant.
Yeah.
And I know because I've lived it. It sucks. we and then mental illness. I want to see mental illness just eradicated. I lived with ADD, ADHD, depression, anxiety, all of these things for years. There's no way I could have sat here without being on multiple levels of medication to do a show like this. And honestly, probably couldn't have overcome the nerves to really get through it. And now here I sit unmedicated with that. And it's mind-blowing. I want to see everyone get to live that kind of life. And I don't think turning to a pill is the answer. It's just not. So really tapping into your why, really looking at, when you're eating, are you fueling yourself? Do you know why you're here? And that's why a lot of health coaching is also life coaching.
Yeah.
It really goes hand in hand. So I do a lot of life coaching in my practice because looking for the motivation, the reason that we're doing things we're doing is so important.
So important. It's getting back to that root cause instead of just putting the Band-Aid of medication on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And food is medicine. It can be the safest and most effective form of medicine, or it can be the slowest form of poison. I think that's a quote from Ann Widmore. So just to put that out there. That's not my original thought, but it's one that I live by.
Yeah, very good thought.
No.
Very good.
Carly, I love you. So, all right. So that's some thoughts. How are we doing? We've got 3 minutes left, guys. All right. Let's see if we've got any questions here. Do we have any questions? We've got lots of hellos. Hello, Jeanette. Hello, Mandy.
Hey, Jeanette.
Lots of hey, Adam. Hey, Amy. Lots of people chiming in. So again, facebook.com/GetRealToHeal, facebook.com/AKLaPlante, and you can also pop on @GetRealToHeal on Instagram anytime. I really want to start being more active on the show, answering questions. So if there are guests that you'd like to see on the show, topics that you'd like us to cover, if there's whatever, if you want to see me tap dance on the desk before, I don't know what. Anyway, whatever it is, I'm interested in what you have to say, what you need, what's going to help you on your health journey. Probably not me tap dancing, but
I know me.
Whatever it is, I really want people to start reaching out, and let's start a conversation here as we move forward in this year of finding bliss.
I think that's awesome. Here, answer some questions.
Good things. Another thing I want to touch on is for cravings. One more little tip for you guys for today. Mindful eating. Mindfully eating, right? So mindfulness is a practice we hear a lot about, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, it must be attached to. I don't have any religious attachment to any of the meditation, mindfulness, anything that I do. I do it because the science backs it up, and it works. So mindful eating is basically, a lot of times we're sitting there, we're in front of the TV or whatever, and we're just eating, or we're driving and eating, whatever. Just sitting down and being present with your food. And the process of digestion begins with your eyes and your nose, right? Your senses. That's what starts the mouth watering, starts the juices flowing in the stomach. Everything's kind of kicks on when you take time to be present with your meal in the first place. And then really noticing all of the sensations, all of the things about the meal as you take a bite. Notice as you're chewing it. Notice that your tongue knows exactly what to do every time. It's kind of amazing how our body works and just knows what to do. As we put the food up to our mouth, we start chewing it, the tongue starts moving it around, right? And notice the texture changing. As you chew it, it changes. The flavor changes and starts to dissipate. And then as you swallow, notice as it moves to the back of your mouth and as it starts to go all the way down your throat and into your stomach, actually notice that sensation. So many people have never even done that.
It's crazy.
Did you ever think about that?
Never, no. And I think of mindfulness as an everyday life practices, but never with my food. So that's a totally new concept to me.
Yeah, so your digestive processes really they turn on with your parasympathetic nervous system activated.
Okay.
That's your rest and digest system. Oh. And you got to take the time to do it. So I hope these tips were helpful for you today. We're down to just a couple seconds. Thanks again, Carly Pass, for sitting in.
Thank you, Amanda. You're the best.
I love you. All right. And for more information from me or to reach out, AmandaLaPlante.com anytime, or find me online. And go make it a great day. I love you. That was terrifying. That was excruciating, terrifying.
You did amazing. You did so good.
I love all the little thumbs up that
so
just went up when I said that.
hand.
Yeah, yeah, it's absolutely terrifying.
It's scary,
right?
It's like I can't. Nothing's
Great job.
coming out. Great job to you. You really carried that. You did awesome. I learned things.
Thank you for being here. It's so, I know people that just monologue a show, like they can just do that, and it is amazing. I just need somebody. I need to feel like I'm talking to
you need
someone.
a partner.
I need a partner in crime. I do. I do.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that I did. Last month I had a TBD for the guest, and then I ended up filling it in because I nerved out. And this month we got down to the last minute, and I was like, nope, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. It's happening.
I'm so glad.
So it's good.
Awesome.
I think that was a good first effort.
Yeah, you pushed yourself and it was awesome. You're outside your comfort zone.
Find your flow.
Yeah.
Just like I did with the other part of the show. If you guys go back to SoundCloud.com, I forgot to plug that. You can listen to all the episodes of Get Real to Heal on SoundCloud.com/GetRealToHeal. And if you listen to like the first couple of episodes,
It's amazing how far you
my family used to make fun of me because I would tune in on the station to listen so that I could see how I heard, so I could tweak things. And my biggest habit was I would say, wow. And so, okay, so...
it just comes out naturally.
Slow and choppy. And yeah, it does. It just comes out. And it's all the things you become aware of. So I'm sure that, if I keep myself accountable and say every other month, and just do
I think that's
a
an
live
awesome
show.
idea. You have so much to share. Like, I want you to be the guest on your own show every time. Like... And whenever I hear what they're saying and stuff, I'm like, Amanda knows about that. She could chime in there.
Well, maybe if anyone wants to have me on their show, maybe I should start being a guest on shows too. That might help polish the, sharpen the saw.
Sharpen that saw. Sharpen the pencil.
Saw. Well, hey, I love you guys. If there's anything that I can help you with, anything at all, just reach out. I'm always willing to share what I've learned in my health journey, whether you work with me one-on-one as a coach or not. I'm still more than open to questions anytime. I just want you to get well. So go make it a great day, and I'll see you next time.